So this 125-pound matchup between Penn State and Iowa, coming into this year, you would have said, all right, this is a pretty clear advantage for Iowa, right? Drake Ayala was an NCAA qualifier 2 years ago. He had some nice wins. He had beaten Michael D'Agostino among other pretty tough guys, and it felt like that he'll have the edge over Gary Steen or Robbie Howard or whoever Penn State throws out there. But then we didn't factor in that this Braeden Davis guy was not just the real deal, but he was the real deal right away. That was not anticipated. And every step of the way, Braeden has just answered the questions that have been put before him, and he's passed every test. So coming into this match now, is Drake the favorite still or not? Well, you could go back and forth on this. On the one hand, Braeden Davis has beaten Michael D'Agostino and Brandon Kaler. Now, are those the biggest wins in the world? I mean, they're pretty good to have at 125 pounds. Those are two All-Americans. Now, if you look at Drake's season, well, what do we know about Drake? He lost to Kaler, and he lost to D'Agostino. And both these matches are kind of like, well, if matches, right? If Ayala is not trying a slide by late in the match he's winning, Brandon Kaler doesn't get an easy takedown, right? And then Drake wins that match. If he just is able to swim out in tiebreakers, he beats Michael D'Agostino. But those ifs are kind of my point. It's like right there in the margins, and he's not quite winning them. Not quite winning them. And Braeden Davis, as a true freshman, he found a way to win those matches. He beat Kaler pretty soundly. And then D'Agostino, it was a 5-1 final. Now, that match was ultimately decided by the ride that Braeden Davis put on Michael D'Agostino, which was something that, if you would have said going into that match, who has the mat advantage, Michael D'Agostino or Braeden Davis? You said, well, it's the fifth-year senior who's turned, a multitude of really good 25-pounders. This is a guy who majored Matt Ramos last year at Big Tens. And it's Davis that gets riding time. It's Davis that is really pushing from the top position. And it was Davis that was really pressuring forward, wrestling really tough from neutral against Michael D'Agostino. And he got a late takedown off a kind of a Hail Mary attempt from D'Agostino at the end of that match. Now, that's the case for Braeden. He's the only undefeated wrestler. He's beaten 2 All-Americans. He's passed every test. Here's the counterpoint. That Kilkiri match can't be ignored, right? Vinny Kilkiri came out and he nearly beat, and many will say he should have beaten Braeden Davis in that match. And now, so what does it mean to have lost potentially to Vinny Kilkiri? He would be not ranked right now if he were the varsity wrestler for Ohio State. He would be a fringe NCAA qualifier for sure. He has beaten 1 NCAA qualifier this year, Ethan Bergen of Army, who is, going to be on that bubble, but likely to qualify. So that's his, that's kind of the case. And, without relitigating those final 6 seconds of the Penn State-Ohio State 125 match, the fact that it was that close should say, hey, Drake Ayala is absolutely going to be in this match at 125 pounds. And it feels like everyone at 125 has their day where, listen, the loss is knocking on the door, and one of these days Braden's going to answer that door, right? It feels like that's going to happen to everyone. It's happened to everyone but Braeden. And it seems like Carver Hawkeye, true freshman, against Drake Ayala coming off a loss. It seems like things are lining up for Drake here. But it's going to be a tough matchup. And the thing with Drake is he going to be assertive Drake Ayala? Is he going to be pressuring and shooting and firing his single leg? If he is, he's going to be really tough to beat. If he plays a tight, close game and wants to win a super calculated match, I think that's going to be tougher for him because Braden's proven he can win those kind of matches. Drake lost that match against Kaler, and he lost that match last week against D'Agostino in tiebreakers. He played D'Agostino's game a little bit there. So I think on paper, I think Drake Ayala is the favorite, but it can't be with a high degree of certainty. And the Carver Hawkeye factor can't be ignored here. That is a hard place to wrestle. Braeden Davis was wrestling in high school last year. It's an adjustment. Drake's adjusted to it. He seems to be adjusted to the weight, which looked like it was a challenge early in there. But let's be honest about this matchup. This could be a Big Ten final. This could be an NCAA final for all we know. It's that weight is that wide open. Matt Ramos has sort of solidified himself, but I don't know how confident you can be in really anyone at this weight class. But I think if you're Iowa or Penn State, and for Iowa, especially in this match, you've got to want to start the match off on the right foot, and you need to win 125 pounds.